Hey everybody, it's Aiden here once again, and welcome to some more Formula Challenge highlights, this time from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the United States, which is in America. Now, a little bit different this time round. What happened was the competition system that hosts Formula Challenge and assigns the splits and things like that had a bit of a meltdown, so Studio 397, using initiative, unlike the FIA, said, hey, we'll open up an open server, anybody can join, doesn't matter what split you're in, and it'll just be a fun race for no championship points, totally non-championship, and the race itself was broadcast on Traction.gg's YouTube channel, so if you want to watch the whole thing, you can go and watch the whole thing over there. Now, as is customary for these highlight packages, what I like to do is go on board for the first lap, but I'm going to have to go on board for the first two laps, for reasons that will become apparent in a minute. So, lights out, got away with minimal wheel spin, managed to jump that guy off the line. Then I had Pavel Andreevsky on my outside, and we did no formation lap this time, so I was too busy watching Andreevsky and then just missed the braking point, went in too deep. Was sort of expecting Pantsar to move over, but we were three wide into turn one, and then for some reason, like an idiot, I decided to try and take the racing line for turn two and put myself into the gravel. So, totally my fault. Would have probably got penalised in an actual race, but, you know, you live and learn. But I've been doing this for 18 months now. I should probably know a bit better by this point. So, I'm now at the back of the field, and there is one small issue besides having to come back through the field. Apart from the second lap at Spa-Francorchamps, which was the first race of the season, I have never done an outbraking manoeuvre in this car. Ever. So I'm having to learn at the same time, because I'm always on my own, or I make a position up or two through mistakes like that one that's just happened. And if there's one thing I'm still learning in this car, it's how to brake. You know, locking up, locking the rears, that kind of thing, just going too deep, that kind of thing. So when you've got other people around you that you know are slower than you, and that's no disrespect to the guys in Split 2, Split 3, that, you know, I started in Split 2 and got promoted up to Split 1, so I just had to be very, very careful and take my time instead of trying to fire my way back through, which is pretty much what I've been doing in touring cars before I gave that up to stay in this series and focus on it. So managed to catch up to the back of the field pretty quickly, you know, by the end of the first lap, and then up towards turn one for the second time. The cars ahead just trying to find their positions, trying to find out what to do, and it was my job to get through cleanly without wiping myself out. And like I said, tempting to try and force your way through knowing that you're faster than these guys, but, you know, you might ruin their race as well as your own. So just take your time and you'll know that you'll get them either into the next braking zone, as I managed to get a decent exit of the turn 5, turn 6 chicane, got in the slipstream, pulled to the inside, up to the heavy braking zone for turn 7, and that's a nice clean overtake done right there. If you watch the live stream of the Bathurst 12 hour back in February, March, whenever that was, you'll know that I'm faster when I'm angry. And I wasn't as fast this time round as I was at Bathurst, but it was still fun to come through, and it was good practice at the same time, so maybe it was a good thing we had this non-championship race as I brake for the Snake Pit section, which some would argue should have been there in 2005 instead of, you know, having that meme race that we saw with just 6 cars, but managed to get into the slipstream. DRS not open yet, just pulled out of the slipstream, had the better straight line speed, as was noted by the commentators during the race, up to turn 1 on the brakes, and a nice easy overtake into turn 1. Roses are red, that move made me smiley. Next up on the list is David O'Reilly. I caught O'Reilly by turn 7, and as we entered into the twisty section, it was clear how much pace I had compared to those at the back of the grid. And once again, it was just a case of be patient. You know you're quicker, just get them into turn 1 like you have been all the other times. Well, aside from the move I did into turn 7 on the previous lap, but just keeping it nice and clean. Brake early, maybe save a bit of fuel, you never know how much you can save. Took the slightly wider line into the final corner to maximise the acceleration, and the setup allowed me to keep my foot absolutely pinned through the final corner, which meant I was accelerating more and getting more top speed. DRS popped open, O'Reilly sort of slowly moves over to try and force me tighter to the wall, but I thought, nope, I'm having that, straight onto the inside. O'Reilly moves back to the outside, nice and clean, and the position's made even easier for me as O'Reilly spun, so let's have another look at that one. So on board with David O'Reilly, heading up towards turn 1. He's giving me plenty of space. He's had a lock-up on that right front. You can see the flat spot, and then he just locks up again, and the car just over-rotates into turn 1, and he loses a couple more positions on top of the one I took from him. Next lap, I've caught up to the next car. That isn't actually a Butler Powell Motorsport car. It's just a livery that whoever was driving it picked. And it's the same case once again. Better exit of the final acceleration zone, up towards the DRS line, slipstream, pull out, over the yard of bricks, and another very easy overtake that the commentators started calling the Millward move, but you know, it's just standard racing. You know, I haven't done anything special. It's just standard overtaking, really. And then up ahead is Gonzalo Costa, who's actually a moderator on my Discord. A link for that will be in the description box. And he kindly moves over for me. Yeah, he locked up, but he gets to keep his job. Let's put it that way. Looking back now from Fabian Barla's car, as I do, you know, pretty much the same thing as I had been doing all race towards turn 1. And on this occasion, managed to have the move done even before the corner, so we must have been doing something right with the setup for this round, and hopefully it translates for the real thing. And then 2 laps later, same livery, different driver, same move though. The next car proved to be a little more tricky. My car was definitely better through the twisty section and had a more balanced setup, but the car ahead seemed to be geared more towards straight line speed, so the back stretch, well, the 2 DRS zones really, the back stretch and the front straight where the start-finish line is. So you can see me just pulls away down the slight straight here before the snake pit, locks up slightly. I tried to get the exit again like I had been doing for every other overtake I'd done, maybe clipped a bit too much of the curb on the inside, but you can just see the car ahead starts to pull away ever so slightly, and then I get the DRS, so I'm able to sort of neutralise that straight line speed that he had. So that guy ahead, running less swing than us, but still managing to get close-ish enough. I say hello by pulling out, but I was going to have to rely on something like an undercut or maybe a mistake to get past him. And I got my wish for a mistake on the next lap.
Finally!
And by the time I'd caught 7th place, it was my pit stop, so I caught that guy just at the right time. Probably would have had him into turn 1, but I'd have run out of fuel at the same time. So bring the car in, and then it gets set up for the rest of the race, as our main rival for the race is ahead in the yellow car. As Barbakov had pitted first, he got to leave first, and then I was in behind. 7.5 seconds for fuel and tyres, so just like old Formula 1 really, and then I'm off on my way. Barbakov was 4.5 seconds up the road when I left the pit lane, but I slowly managed to chop away at the lead, and then as the tyres passed their best, I was able to drive faster for longer. Fabian Barla, meanwhile, was being an absolute lad and no stopping on soft tyres, so I can only imagine how ruined those were by the end. He was losing a second a lap to myself and to Stoyan, but as you're about to see, he was able to keep both of us behind despite having knackered rubber. Meanwhile, I'd finally caught up to Barbakov, and the DRS was much more powerful on him than it had been for other drivers. I went to the outside where he forced me, and I thought I might be able to nail it around the outside, but he still gave me loads of room, and then decided to just slam the door in my face. Good hard racing, but I didn't see that at the time.
The fuck?
We then caught up to Barla, and Barbakov tried every which way to get around. He made his first attempt, and it wasn't successful. On the next lap, he tried again. I backed off slightly as my pessimism said that there was going to be an accident imminent, but still, Barla, on absolutely shredded rubber, managed to keep Barbakov in behind him. That is until the start of the next lap, when Barbakov got the DRS, was even closer this time round, and managed to make the overtake. I tried to follow him through, but Barla wasn't going to lose 2 positions in one go. At the start of the next lap though, I managed to get the move to stick. My sights once again turned to Barbakov. I was much better on the brakes entering the snake pit and almost overdid it. And on this setup, as the tyres start to wear off, grip coming through the final corner is compromised. But I still kept the foot to the floor, managed to keep the car on the track, and followed Barbakov down the start-finish straight. The DRS again was pretty powerful, so Barbakov must have been running more wing. And just like he did before, he forced me to go to the outside, but this time, the position was mine. I went from 8th to 15th and now back up to 4th.
See you later, masturbator.
Andrzejewski in 3rd and a podium position was just too far out of reach. I managed to pull away from Barbakov towards the end of the race, and it was just on my own for the last 5 minutes or so, but still, a recovery drive was pretty good, but it shouldn't have had to happen really, so apologies once again to Robin Pansar if I did wipe you out. Arna won the race in dominant style, finishing about 30 seconds up the road from Alejandro Lopez Arjona, who finished in 2nd. Tony Mellor, also of Sancho, was running in 2nd for the first sort of quarter of the race, but then a lag spike caused him to crash out, so it was just me and Arna from Sancho that finished. Pavel Andrzejewski finished 3rd for PLS, and there's me in 4th ahead of Stoyan Barbakov, Fabian Bala, Kevin Morville, Dylan Hember, Gennaro Dulis and David O'Reilly rounding out the top 10. The actual Indianapolis round of Formula Challenge will be moved to the end of the season, so it'll be after the Monza round on the 1st of October, so it'll be sort of around mid-October when that actually happens. But on the 17th of September, instead, we'll be going to Zandvoort, where the Formula 1 Grand Prix is being held this weekend, and then we'll be taking to the track, like I say, on the 17th of September. It's also a track where I picked up my first ever sim racing win, well, my first competitive sim racing win in the Race All-Star Esports Battle Challenge competition type thing. So if you want to watch that, subscribe, get the bell on for Traction.gg's YouTube channel, because they'll be broadcasting the entire event, and hopefully see you in the chat in between sessions. So until next time, I've been Millward. Have a great day wherever you live in the world, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.